Have you ever wondered why some parts of the world are just fantastically wealthy, while other places seem completely stuck in a cycle of poverty? It's one of the biggest, most fundamental questions of our time, a real globe-spanning mystery. Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and look at the hidden framework that might just solve it. I mean, seriously, why? This question has stumped the experts for like centuries. Economists, historians, you name it, they've all taken a crack at this prosperity puzzle. But a single clear answer has always been just out of reach. So what gives? Okay, so to get to the bottom of this, we first have to round up what I like to call the usual suspects. These are the most common explanations you've probably heard a dozen times. But as you're about to see, they don't really tell the whole story. All right, first up, geography. The idea here is that a country's wealth is basically determined by its location, its climate, or its natural resources. You know, maybe tropical countries are just destined to be poorer, or maybe having a ton of oil is a golden ticket. It sounds pretty logical on the surface, right? Okay, so if it's not geography, maybe it's culture. This theory suggests that some societies just have a better work ethic, or they're more innovative, that their values are just naturally a better fit for economic success. And then there's this one, the ignorance theory. This basically argues that poor countries are poor just because their leaders don't know any better. They just haven't figured out the right mix of economic policies to get things going. But here's the thing. These theories just kind of fall apart when you look at a place like the Korean Peninsula. I mean, you've got the exact same geography, the same weather, and a people who shared a culture for thousands of years. Yet one side, South Korea, is this booming, wealthy global powerhouse, while the other, North Korea, is trapped in extreme poverty. Geography and culture just can't explain that massive divide. Something else has to be going on here. So to figure out what that something else is, we've got to zoom way in. We're going to look at a really unique case study that's like a perfect natural experiment, and it gives us a huge clue for solving this whole prosperity puzzle. So let's take a trip, you and me, to a city called Nogales. It's a fascinating place because it's literally one community, same people, same culture, same geography, that got split right down the middle by the US-Mexico border fence. The people on either side share family, food, you name it. The only major difference is that line on the map. And get this, the results of that simple line on a map, they're absolutely staggering. On the Arizona side, the average family makes 3 times more money. People live longer, they have access to decent public services, and they can mostly trust the police and the courts. But just a few feet away in Sonora, Mexico, life is worlds apart. The people are the same, the location is the same. So what is the real difference here? Well, it all comes down to the rules of the game. You see, the folks in Nogales, Arizona and Nogales, Sonora live under completely different sets of rules that shape their entire lives, their choices, their incentives, their opportunities. And those rules, well, we call them institutions. This is the big idea from researchers like Daron Acemoglu, Simon Johnson, and James Robinson. Their groundbreaking work shows that if you really want to understand why some countries are rich and others are poor, you have to look at their institutions, the rules they live by, and how those rules came to be. So what exactly are these economic institutions? Just think of them as the official and unofficial rules of the game for an entire society. This includes everything from property rights, can you own stuff and be sure no one will take it, to how the legal system works. And the most important part, these rules aren't set in stone by nature. They are designed by people. Now here's where it gets really interesting. The theory basically says that while every country's rules are a little different, they tend to fall into one of 2 big categories, inclusive or extractive. And understanding this difference, well, that's the key that unlocks the whole puzzle. So, first, you have inclusive institutions. These are the rules designed to let as many people as possible play the economic game. Think about Nogales, Arizona. You've got secure property rights, which means if you build a business, you know you'll get to enjoy the fruits of your labor. You've got a legal system that's mostly fair. These kinds of rules give everyone a reason to invest, to innovate, to work hard, because they actually have a shot at success. Now, flip that coin over, you get extractive institutions. These are the opposite. They're designed by a small, powerful group at the top to basically suck wealth and resources from everybody else. Think Nogales, Sonora. Property rights might not be so secure. The legal system, it might favor whoever has the most connections. It's tough to start a new business and compete. A system like this just crushes incentives. I mean, Why would you bother working hard or coming up with a great idea if you're afraid someone more powerful is just going to take it all away? You see how this works? It creates this incredible positive feedback loop, a real engine for prosperity. When inclusive institutions make people feel secure, they are way more likely to invest in themselves and their futures. And when lots of people are doing that, it unleashes this wave of hard work and innovation that grows the entire economic pie for everyone, not just for a tiny slice at the top. Okay, so this isn't just some dusty old academic theory. This way of thinking has huge implications for the world we are living in right now. It helps explain so much of what we see in the global economy today. And the stakes here? Wow, they are unbelievably high. That 3-to-1 income gap we saw in Nogales, that's not a fluke. All over the world, where extractive institutions are the norm, they create and lock in these massive inequalities. They funnel a nation's wealth into just a few hands. And this isn't some accident of history or geography. It's the direct result of the rules that were put in place. Once you start seeing the world through this institutional lens, you can't unsee it. It's like a hidden framework that suddenly makes sense of the daily headlines, from political turmoil and stalled development in some countries to the sources of stability and innovation in others. And this, right here, is the most powerful and honestly, the most hopeful part of this whole idea. Prosperity is not fate. It's not determined by your coordinates on a map or your cultural heritage. It is a matter of choice. The massive gap between wealth and poverty comes down to the rules, the institutions that societies choose to live by. Which leaves us with a final and maybe the most important question of all. If these rules are man-made, if they're not some force of nature, does that mean we have the power to change them, to make them better? And if we do, how?